Alrighty, so now that you have watched the three lectures and thought about what social theory is, what are its parts, and what makes good theory, I'm just going to give a really brief summary of these lectures. Thinking about all of these bullet points, I'm not going to go through these in super depth, but essentially, human dimensions of natural resource management, natural resources, the theories that compose that field, that academic discipline, those theories assemble claims about related concepts. So if you remember, that theory is a systematic explanation of observed events, right? The systematicity from it is the relationship between the concepts with one another and how those concepts, when you mix them all together or assemble them, that makes a theory, right? And it's really important to remember that these concepts, they represent abstract or unmeasured properties of different mental images of reality, right? We didn't talk about it in these terms, but basically things like beliefs and values and attitudes, these are abstract and they're not measured yet. We can measure them through variables, which we'll talk about in a second, but concepts are not measured, and they're really mental images or articulated concepts, articulated things that we think contribute to a social phenomena, which could be an event, it could be a behavior, it could be kind of anything that is a social practice, a social phenomena, what have you, right? So I mentioned this just a second ago, but variables are these concrete measures of these different properties, these concepts. They often take the form of survey items. They could take the form of actually observing people's behavior in a particular location. You could observe whether or not someone composts. You could observe whether or not someone's biking. You could observe whether or not someone's reading a trailhead sign. There's litany, like an ever growing list or an everlasting list or whatever of different variables that you can measure for certain things. It's important to kind of think about that theory guides research because it highlights the different constructs that are appropriate and related when we're trying to explain social phenomena. And also, those constructs, those concepts will guide, what kind of variables should be measured, right? So if you remember from the theory, I think it was 2.2 on, what are the parts of theory? If we remember, theories are made up of constructs or concepts, and those constructs or concepts are then measured by variables. If you remember from lecture 2.3, good theory it's three things. We have three evaluative criteria for what makes theories good. Are they internally logical, right? Do they just make sense? Are they parsimonious, right? Do they get to the point as quickly as possible? And are they generalizable, right? Are they applicable to other contexts? So this is just kind of a summary of the different lectures. This isn't meant to replace those lectures by any means. Watching this isn't meant to replace those lectures. But I hope watching this kind of re-engages some of your thinking that you were thinking about in the past three lectures that you watched for this week. Okay, so this week, at this point, you have watched these three lectures, you thought about them, now you know what theory is, you know what the parts of theory are, and you know what differentiates good and bad theories. So now you're required to read this Troy Hall article on how to use theory in conservation social science research. It's a really great article that just, makes concrete a lot of abstract things that are related to theory. It's really great. It's short too. And then you're going to choose one of the following two articles to read. This one is, again, by Troy Hall, and it's Reflections on the Role of Theory in Visitor Use Management and Practice. So if you're interested in, national parks, national forests, and visitor behavior in those places, this could be a really great article to read. It's really well written, and again, it kind of makes more explicit like how to use theory in these settings. This next article, The Incorporating Human Behaviors into Theory of Urban Community Assembly and Species Coexistence. If you're interested in ecology, if you're interested in kind of the more biophysical side of things, and you're in this class because it's a requirement, and you just want to, you're really interested in ecology, this actually could be a really cool article for you. It tries to build a theory of urban ecology by integrating human behaviors into that theory. So this kind of isn't quite a social theory paper, but it's a ecology theory paper that again incorporates this concept of human behaviors, and it's kind of more theoretical. They don't collect any data for it. They don't do anything like that. But they propose a theoretical framework to understand urban community assembly and species coexistence, which is really great. And I really encourage you, if you're interested in ecology, to read this. And really, I encourage you to read both if you want. You're not required to, but I think they're both pretty thought-provoking and useful articles. In this week's meeting on Wednesday, I'm going to do a really short lecture on building and applying social theory. And then we're going to have an activity on real-world uses of social theory that's based on the readings, that's based on the lectures, and that kind of stuff. But it's based, we're going to organize it out by what article of these two that you read. So definitely read one of these articles. It'd be fun if you read two, but it's only required to read one. And like always, we have a quiz due Sunday by about midnight over Canvas. So I hope this summary was helpful. And please let any of us, me, Michael, or Chanel, know if you have any questions about social theory, if you have any questions about the class, anything else. We're always happy to chat. I hope you all have a great week, and I'm excited to see you all on Wednesday.